What's going on, everyone? I'm back with another video in this Disciplined Priest In-Depth Mythic Plus guide. This video is going over my essences and what is available to us as Disciplined Priest, and what my preferences are, and what I think about each essence, depending on what week it is that you're playing, or what essence is good for certain affixes. So let's get right into it. I'll start from the top. Mind you that I have rank 4 of most, and rank 3 of most, and then one rank 2, and then one rank 1. So everything I'm going to be reading is going to be in terms of the highest possible thing you'll get from the essences. So all my rank 4s, if you have these at a rank 3, you're still going to get the same effect as what I'm about to read. I'm sorry that if you're new for this and you're a new Discipline Priest, you're trying to get some info out of this. This series is kind of more geared towards players who are at that 15 key range and kind of have a general knowledge of what essences to run and how to play and what plays there are to be made versus some affixes. So that's what this series is kind of for. So I'm hoping that if you're reading this, or if you're hearing this, and what I'm reading is like, okay, I already have that as a rank 3, cool. And if you're stuck at that 15 range, I hope this helps push you past that 15 range to get into those 17s, 18s, and 19s. So start from the top of Memory of Lucid Dreams. It's the major is a 2-minute cooldown, instant cast. Clear your mind and attune yourself with Heart of Azeroth, increasing your mana generation rate by 100%, and your leech by X amount for 15 seconds. The minor is a passive. Your spells and abilities have a chance to refund 50% of the mana spent on them, heal you for X amount, and increase your versatility by X amount for 8 seconds. Crucible Flame, major power, it's a 40-yard range, instant cast, 30-second recharge. Blast your target with a ball of concentrated flame, dealing X amount of fire damage to an enemy or healing an ally for X amount. Then burn the target for an additional 75% of the damage or healing done over 6 seconds. Each cast of Concentrated Flame deals 100% increased damage or healing. This bonus resets after every third cast. You have a max of 2 charges. The minor is a passive. Your spells and abilities have a chance to cauterize your target for X amount fire damage over 10 seconds, or to heal an ally for X amount over 10 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. Ever-Rising Tide, major. It's an instant cast, 30-second cooldown, overcharge your mana for 8 seconds, causing each spell you cast to increase your healing by 4%, stacking. While overcharged, your mana regen is halted and you gain 10% haste. Minor is a passive. Your heals have a chance to grant either X amount of intellect for 10 seconds or X amount of mana. Chance of receiving mana increases with your missing mana, and then you have 20% chance to gain both effects. Artifice of Time, major. 40-yard range, instant cast, 3-minute cooldown. Create a time vortex around a friendly target, absorbing X amount of damage and X amount of healing for 6 seconds. When this expires, the absorbed damage and healing is delivered over 10 seconds, and the damage is reduced by 20%. Minor is a passive. Your heals have a very high chance to grant the target X amount of haste and X amount of speed for 8 seconds. Conflict and Strife major is it's premonition, so I'll just read premonition. Pull that up. Okay, so Conflict and Strife major provides premonition, and premonition does. It's 500 mana, cost, instant cast, 12-second cooldown. It applies atonement to yourself and heals up to 4 injured allies with your atonement active within 40 yards for X amount. Shortly after, you deal X amount of shadow damage to yourself for each target healed, and increase the duration of your atonements on targets healed by 3 seconds. Pull up my essences again. Okay, so the Conflict and Strife minor, passive. Your spells and abilities have a chance to increase your versatility by X amount for 14 seconds, stacking up to 8 times. Being the victim of the loss of control or movement impairing effect also grants a stack of Strife. Lifebinder's Invocation major is a 1.8 second cast, 2.5 minute cooldown. Implant 4 seeds of ENR divided over all allies within 30 yards. Seeds that expire unused reduce the cooldown of this ability by 2 seconds. A seed of ENR is heals for X amount over 0.7 seconds if the target takes damage. The seed bursts, healing them for X amount. The minor is a passive. Your heals have a very high chance to implant a seed of ENR in the target for 15 seconds. Spirit of Preservation. Major. It's a 40-yard range, channeled, 1 minute cooldown. You channel a beam of energy onto an ally, healing them for X amount over 2.2 seconds. Up to 6 other allies in the beam are healed for X amount every 0.4 seconds. Each time Spirit of Preservation heals the primary target, gain a stack of Devout Spirit. Devout Spirit is a passive, and every 5 seconds you gain Devout Spirit, causing your next Shadow Mend to heal for an additional X amount, stacking up to 5 times. Each stack of Devout Spirit consumed increases the critical strike chance of your next Shadow Mend within 15 seconds by 20%. This is one of the newer essences in 8.3, so you have the unique corruption resistance increased by 10. Well of Existence Major is a refreshment, instant, 15-second cooldown. Release all healing stored in the Well of Existence into an ally. This healing is amplified by 50%. The well will not release more healing than needed to fully heal the target. Passive, or minor is a passive. 15% of your overhealing is stored in the Well of Existence. When you heal a target under 50% health, the well releases up to X amount of its stored healing into them. When the well contains less than X amount of healing, it absorbs healing twice as quickly. Unwavering Ward Major. The Guardian Shell, channeled, 3-minute cooldown. Release 12 protective spheres outward over 2.9 seconds. Granted the first ally to touch it a barrier that absorbs X amount of damage for 10 seconds. Each time you send out a protective sphere, gain an absorb shield for 2% of your maximum health. When an ally gains the absorb shield, you and that ally heal for X amount. Minor, passive, every 10 seconds. Allies within 15 yards gain a shield that absorbs X amount of damage, stacking up to X amount. Targets protected by Unwavering Ward take 3% reduced damage. This is also a newer essence, so it comes with the unique corruption resistance increased by 10. This Unwavering Ward is very similar to Discipline Priest talent row, the last talent row with Lenience. We put a little, if they have Atonement, usually comes with like a, if you're doing the Powered Shield form of providing Atonement, you have Lenience talented. That's where they got it from, in my opinion. So Vision of Perfection, Major. It's a passive. So your spells and abilities have a chance to activate Shadow Fiend for 35% of its base duration. When the Vision of Perfection activates, you and up to 2 other nearby allies gain X amount of haste for 10 seconds. The Minor is a passive, reduces the cooldown of Shadow Fiend by X percentage, because I believe this is scaling with your heart level, and increases your versatility by X amount. When you activate Shadow Fiend, immediately heal for 5% maximum health. Vitality Conduit. Major is a 40-yard range, instant, 45-second cooldown. Direct the Vitality Conduit toward an ally. Every 0.5 seconds for 6 seconds, they transfer X amount of health from the highest health ally within 30 yards. If the target reaches full health, jumps to the lowest health nearby target for the remaining duration. Minor. Transference. It's a passive. Targets of your heals have a very high chance to transfer X amount of health from the highest health ally within 30 yards. Health transfers leave a X amount damage absorb shield on the target for 5 seconds. World Fane Resonance Major is an instant 1-minute cooldown. Concentrate energy into the heart of Azeroth, immediately causing 3 lifeblood shards to erupt from the nearby ground for 18 seconds, and increase the primary stat gain from lifeblood shards by 300% for 18 seconds. A lifeblood shard grants you and any other ally using World Vein Resonance X amount of primary stat while within 12 yards of the lifeblood shard. You can benefit from a maximum of 4 lifeblood shards at a time. The Minor, every 1 to 25 seconds, a lifeblood shard erupts from the nearby ground for 18 seconds. So everything I just read is a rank 3 or above, and now here my last two, this one is a rank 2, the Formless Void Major, 40-yard range, 1.5 second cast. Replicate the energy in your target's Heart of Azeroth, gaining access to rank 2 of their currently slotted major essence for the next 15 seconds. The Formless Void will go on a cooldown for 40% longer than the base cooldown of the essence you replicated. It does not work on passive essences. The Minor, is a passive. Each time an ally within 40 yards uses an Azurite Essence, gain X amount of intellect for 20 seconds. This is a new essence, so you come with a unique corruption resistance increased by 10. So the major power for rank 3 does this. Replica of Knowledge can now copy up to rank 3 of your target's current major essence, and the increased cooldown is lowered by 10%. The minor, when an ally within 40 yards uses an Azurite Essence, you and that ally gain X amount of haste for 20 seconds. Only one ally can have this haste effect at a time. So here's my one and only rank 1 essence, because I just don't see the purpose of this one at all. It is Rippling Space. The major is a 25-yard range, instant cast, 1 minute cooldown. Create an Azurite beacon at a target location. After 4 seconds, the Heart of Azeroth will relocate you to this beacon and deal X amount of fire damage to all nearby enemies. Excuse me. The minor is a passive. When you move more than 25 yards within 4 seconds, gain X amount of intellect for 15 seconds. This can only occur once every 30 seconds. So, that is all the essences that are available to us as Discipline Priest. What you see on my screen right now, my current major is Crucible of Flame, my minors are Spirit of Preservation, Conflict and Strife, and Artifice of Time. This is kind of like my bread and butter go-to default setup. If you watch my series of Discipline Priest doing all 15 keys or higher in time, then you'll see that I think for either all those runs or at least like 10 of the runs, I ran Worldvane Resonance, and I was really high on the thought of like, wow, like look at all this intellect I get, because now I'm getting a lot more intellect on a 1 minute cooldown, which is huge. Like I would spike the intellect to like, I almost have 30,000 intellect. It was freaking nuts. And during those like burst windows of intellect, I was doing a lot of damage. While doing a lot of damage, I'm also doing a lot of healing through my atonement. And I felt like it really got me through some what I thought were tough times. But since then I've moved on and I've pushed higher keys. Now I'm doing 19s and 18s, trying to get all 18s in time. And I'm now playing with Crucible of Flame. So I'd like to think that your essences are really kind of based on user preference. There are some that are just kind of like a no-no, like they're not, I don't want to say no-no, but if you're interested in pushing like as far as you can and you want to kind of like check your boxes saying, okay, my essences are right, my talents are right, my stats are right, my gear is right, my trinkets are right, my enchants, gems, all that stuff, those are all correct. So now that that's all correct, now it's just up to me, the player, to perform with what I have. So if you're looking for that type of stuff, there are some kind of no-nos where you probably wouldn't play Vision Major, probably wouldn't play Rippling Space Major, probably wouldn't play Artifice of Time Major, probably wouldn't play Conflict and Strife Major, probably wouldn't play Lifebinders Major, you know, things like that. So my personal preference as far as like your majors that are going to help you out in all situations regarding, or it doesn't matter what the affixes are, I recommend Memory of Lucid Dreams Major, Crucible of Flame Major, Ever-Rising Tide Major, Spirit of Preservation Major, and Vitality Conduit Major. I'll throw in Worldvane Major just because I did it at 15, all 15s or higher, so I'll throw that in there. So those 5 I would recommend, as those will all help you out in some way, shape, or form to help you heal through, do more damage, just help you get through what you think might be tough times. And as for minors, I would have to say Spirit of Preservation and Conflict and Strife are like your 2 locked in, like these do not change. Reason being, Spirit of Preservation, because of Devout Spirit. Well, if you have a 5 stack and you Shadowman someone and they get a huge like 200k, 250k Shadowman, boom. Your next Shadowman is guaranteed to crit because you just use a 5 stack of your Devout Spirit. So especially for weeks like this, which is Grievous Week, which is supposed to be hard for us, but if you know how to play, it's harder for us, I will agree with that. We take a little bit more like catering to like perform well, but we have, like Blizzard gave us this and Depth of Shadows Azurite trait to really, in my opinion, help us out with things like this. And I find much success running 1 Depth of Shadow trait and the Devout Spirit or Spirit of Preservation minor. So you can heal off a Grievous stack pretty easily with this setup. You have someone who's, I mean, if you're at a 4 stack of Grievous and they're at like 20% health, like you might as well just count them off. Like they might be dead, it might be faster, just let them die and res them afterwards. But if you can stop it, which is the name of the game for Discipline Priest, especially playing this week for Grievous, is to stay ahead of Grievous stacks. You want to try and clear off as much as you can before they get to that 2 stack and 3 stack on your whole party. So you might notice your healing done. Before, it used to just be your Atonement healing was top, and Shadow Mend might have been your 3rd or 4th. And this week you might notice your Shadow Mend is now your 1st healing, and then it's Atonement, then Atonement critical, which is fine, because the point is, as long as your team doesn't die, like you just gotta do what you can to make sure your team does not die. So you have a big crit heal with your first Shadow Mend. You have a big heal, not a crit heal, not necessarily a crit, but a big heal with your Shadow Mend with Spirit of Preservation, and then you follow it up with another heal if Grievous is not cleared with like 100% chance of critting with another Shadow Mend. That's 2 big heals back, and like that just helps us out so much. And the reason I say Conflict of Strife is a locked in is because it's guaranteed versatility that you don't have to do anything for besides play the game. You just play your character, heal people, do DPS, push keys, your versatility stacks are going up, and the more versatility you have, the more damage you do, and while you're doing more damage, that extra damage you're doing because of your extra versatility is being transferred into Atonement healing. It's just extra to help you out, and as Discipline Priest, pretty much all stats are valuable for us. I would say Mastery might be our least valuable because it adds no damage, but it does add healing. So that's where like all the stats are very valuable to us. So if you can have it passive, just here's some versatility just for playing the game, you know, like that's hugely beneficial. This is in my opinion, another one that I kind of see as a lock for myself just because of how much it procs, and it's haste. And haste is seen as our best secondary stat, very close with crit and verse and mastery, but haste is generally seen as the best stat we can have. So I play this one, and I wonder if I still have a key left. No, I don't. That Motherlode I played as Shadow. Huh. Okay. But from my memory, if my memory serves me, this procs anywhere between 52 to like 57%, or that's the uptime for me. That is a lot of haste. A lot of haste. That, I don't know, it's just huge to me. That's like, it's just so passive. Like you go into combat, you Atonement yourself, or you have Leech on yourself, and now you're healing yourself. Boom, you're getting, boom, here's some more haste. You know, it's just great in my opinion. But if you're looking to play weeks like this, Fortified, Bolster, Grievous, Awaken, let's kind of talk about, so Fortified and Tyrannical, you can run this Essence setup in my opinion and be fine. I know depending on the key range, the higher you go, let's say you're doing like 25, so like I've never done a 25, I've only attempted a 20 and we failed because I messed up a mechanic. So it wasn't due to my healing, it was just due to me being dumb and stood in something I shouldn't for like a split second too long. But those keys, like the Tyrannicals, where you're getting kind of in that one-shotty range, you might want to switch this up. But for general purposes, up to like 19s, this is fine for me, and I do recommend it. Now we're looking at Fortified and Bolstering. I still recommend this setup is fine, especially because Crucible Flame Major will help you take down that trouble target, because let's say dungeons like Siege of Borealis, you have 3 or 4 mobs around 2 mobs that are elite, and the 3 or 4 are not elite, but for whatever reason, they still bolster that elite target. So you want to put your Crucible Flame stacks, you want like that, you want to kind of use that as your big oomph single target damage. Like, I want to take this mob down before he gets bolstered too much. Let me do what I can as a Discipline Priest with my whatever I got right now. Put as much single target damage into this guy that I do not want bolstered. And then you play it like that. So now we're dealing with Fortified, Bolstering, and Grievous. I still would recommend this. Of course, everything like I'm saying is dependent on key level, and I would run this comfortably in a 19. Grievous is where you might, especially if you're at that 15 key range and you're looking to go to 16, 17, 18, is anything above a 15, but you're really still not confident, like, I don't know how to play around Crucible. Crucible, like I read earlier, is also a heal. So if you can use it defensively if it's going to help you clear Grievous, if it's going to help you heal while you're on the move, while you're cutting obelisks. Don't be afraid to like use this as a heal. I use it as a heal all the time and it saves me so much. And it's also a third school of magic that we have. This is fire. This is not Holy or Shadow. So Discipline Priest already benefits from having Holy and Shadow to help us heal. And now we have a third with Crucible of Flame being fire. So if you accidentally get interrupted or whatever, and you're locked out of the school, you can either use your Holy or Shadow or Fire now. You know, so if you get locked out of Shadow, you have Holy and Fire. If you're locked out of Fire, you have Holy and Shadow. If you get locked out of Holy, you have Shadow and Fire. So this is a huge benefit that I think might be seen as like people don't really realize what you have as a major in a defensive purpose. So if you're comfortable with Crucible Flame, like it's in that comfortable spot for you on your keybind, it's just easy for you to use, it's kind of like second nature. Start moving into the habit of maybe using that to help you clear off Grievous instead of sitting there trying to spam Shadow Mend and waste mana. It's just something to think about, something to try. But if you don't like that play, you can always go with your Ever-Rising Tide. This one's going to be a lot more mana costly for you, so I'd highly recommend bringing Sugar Crested Fish Feast or maybe have a mage with you. But this will definitely help you out. Ever-Rising Tide will help you out with like that 3 stack on the whole team for whatever reason, because you're playing Kragma at like a 20 and everyone's getting chunked with Grievous. This will help you push you through that. Memory Lucid Dreams is also a good play because it comes with so much leech for such a long time. Like you don't really need to spend that extra global cooldown on yourself for atonement. You can just use this and let the leech do it for you. And in Grievous weeks, especially the higher you go, you might run into those mana issues where you're just trying so hard to push people over that 90% cap. This Memory Lucid Dreams is going to act like a good mana potion. So that might be another play for you. Spirit of Preservation. Big single target heal, and also heals people in that theme. It's a 1 minute cooldown, so there's a lot of plays being made around this, and you can use it pretty often with only being a 1 minute cooldown. So if that's something you need, like you just want a big single target heal because you just feel like the tank, for whatever reason, is going to be the only person getting a lot of Grievous, and you just want, that's your worry, you might want to play Spirit of Preservation, and boom, Spirit of Preservation on the tank, he's topped off, good to go. You might even want to consider World Vein, maybe. There's a lot of intellect, so it's pretty much, you're still going to do the discipline rotation as far as trying to heal people through Grievous and whatever else might be thrown at you, but you're just doing it so much stronger with all the intellect. So it's not that extra button to be like, alright, I press World Vein Resonance, everyone's topped off. No, you still got to press it and then go about being your discipline free self and do the things that you would normally do just with a lot more intellect. Vitality Con, another thing, big single target heal. This one can kind of be a little sketchy because it might sound sketchy because you're taking health from nearby allies to heal this one target. But at rank 3, you're putting the health that you take, you're putting an absorb shield back onto those people you're taking health from. So it might be kind of like sketchy for you to use during Grievous week because maybe those people are like 91, 92%. That you're trying not to drop below 90, but your tank's at like 40%, but you want that tank topped off, so boom, you want to hit the tank with that, then all of a sudden your tank's topped off, but now you're dealing with everyone else, you just put Grievous on them. So that's something to think about. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I feel like I went over pretty in-depth the essences, how they help with the affixes, especially for this week. Grievous is probably, in my opinion, the only play around that I sometimes think about, okay, I need to play something else. Grievous and Key Level are pretty much the only two things that I think about, okay, maybe I should try something else with my setup. Maybe I should try thinking outside the box, try something a lot more defensive. But for most general purposes, between 15 and 19, this is a great setup for me that I've found. Even for Grievous, it seems like it's like a great setup. I have not done I did a 16 just to get my feet wet earlier, or yesterday I believe, or the day before. I plan on trying to get to those 18s and 19s again this week, and just try and run this setup and just see how it feels. I think it's going to do well for me. I have a really good feeling it'll do well for me because I'm comfortable and I've used it for so long. I think I'll be able to play around it. Let's see what we got coming next week is Raging, Explosive, another Grievous and Sanguine, Teeming, and Volcanic. So in my opinion, the only affix that really changes what you should think about as far as your essence build would be Grievous, and then depending on key level would be Fortified and Tyrannical. And maybe was I saying Teeming instead of Tyrannical this whole video? If I did, I'm sorry, I meant Tyrannical. But yeah, that's pretty much it. These are my locks. Crucible Flame, just a quick overview why these are my locked in essences. Crucible Flame, big single target damage. It provides so much more damage output if you need it for damage. You can use it for healing, which does a lot of healing for you too. In those very specific moments you do need that healing, it also provides a third school of magic to do so if you get locked out of one of your other two. Spirit of Preservation almost needs no explanation just because of how good it is for that single target that Discipline Priest kind of so desperately needed this whole expansion. Yeah, this is pretty much a lock. Conflict and Strife is minor. Again, just kind of a lock for me. Just having the extra secondary stats, versatility is going to help me do more damage, which in turn is going to help me do more atonement healing. So this to me is just a lock in, almost needs no explanation as well. I'm pretty sure almost all the specs, like tanks, DPS, other healers, are Conflict and Strife is a locked in minor. I could be wrong, but from what I've seen, for the most part, Conflict and Strife is the locked in for every secondary or minor power. In this one, Artifice of Time, I kind of stumbled across this maybe within the last 2 weeks or so, because before this I played Memory Lucid Dream just to kind of keep that mana up, or I'd play this to kind of get either intellect for a little bit more intellect or mana, and then sometimes I'd play Well of Existence and it kind of would just do nothing for me, or I'd play Vitality Conduit where I felt like I needed that extra healing. And the Vitality Conduit, the minor, it will be your top third or fourth healing sometimes. It just does a crazy amount of extra healing and it helps you out. But I've kind of noticed I like having that extra haste, and I like just doing Discipline Priest rotational things and performing that way. So for me, this is a lock because of how much, when I ran it that first time as a test, I saw how much the uptime was. That pretty much sold me right then and there. About 50, I would say average 55% uptime on this as a minor for your extra haste and speed. Also, that speed is kind of not something to just brush off speed, whatever. I mean, Discipline Priest already is kind of a slow class. You either need Angelic Feathers or the Body and Soul to get your speed, but if you have this uptime, you have more speed. You can move out of things faster. So yeah, this is pretty much it. That's my thoughts on why I run what I run, no matter what the affix week is. This is what I recommend to you guys if you're feeling more advantageous and you want to kind of go at it as a more offensive approach. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. If there's anything you felt I left out, anything you want me to touch on again, make another video about, or just respond to you guys in the comments, please leave a comment. If you have any questions or comments, or even show me what you guys are doing, what you guys are playing with, what essences work for you, what affixes make you change your essence setup. Do you have a static setup? Do you have a dynamic setup that you change up a lot depending on whatever affix and you change it every week? I don't know. I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say. So, for the 19th time, thank you all for watching.